Well, today marks 60 years of NASA, and the agency is not slowing down.
No, it's not. NASA's working on a new satellite that can help improve the accuracy of your forecast. It's called a RainCube. All right, and get this, it's the size of a cereal box. So joining us this morning to talk about this is Dr. Eva Peral. She's a principal investigator for the RainCube. Doc, I'm curious, just like everybody else out there. Tell us about this thing. It's the size of a cereal box, and it could be in space?
Yes, that's actually a major development here, is to be able to fit this radar inside this very small box, the very small spacecraft. And the radar is capable of sending a signal that penetrates deep into the layers of the storm. It measures the rain at those layers, and then it sends back an echo that is a snapshot of the activity inside the storm. And with that snapshot, we can learn a lot about the processes that make the storm either grow or decay.
This is amazing. So the ISS deployed a RainCube back in July. Where did the satellite deploy into it, and then what did you learn back out of it?
So the radar deployed into the space from the ISS back in mid-July. And what we've been learning from the measurements is that this tiny little spacecraft is capable of producing measurements that are comparable to the larger spacecraft. So we've been taking lots of measurements of precipitation, including very recently Typhoon Trami. We got right through the center of the eye.
Wow.
And then we also measured the wave that later became Hurricane Florence.
So in the end, for everybody out there, are we trying to use this data to potentially give us a better indication of maybe storm intensity when the storm is going to intensify or lose some of its strength?
So the radar itself that we just launched is really a pathfinder. It's the first radar that, to our knowledge, has been launched in such a tiny spacecraft. And the idea here is that one is not really that useful. There are already spacecrafts out there that have the same capability. But what RainCube allows is the constellation of these spacecraft. So what scientists are finding is that we really need to have better sampling, both spatially and temporally, to be able to have a good understanding of Earth processes, of the water cycle.
Yeah.
So in order to, so once we have this constellation, we will be able to significantly improve the weather models that go into creating the weather forecast.
Are these a one-time use device, or what happens to them after launch?
So the life of the spacecraft is basically limited by the decay in the atmosphere. So once they decay below a certain altitude, they just burn up in the atmosphere. So the lifetime is estimated to be about a year.
Where can we see the data that comes from this? Is it out in a map form, or is it just points and numbers?
Yeah, so the data is going to be available to the scientists that want to use it. It comes as a map. It's a profile. It's a vertical profile of the intensity of the rain inside the storm. So it's just a colorful map where the colors indicate the strength of the precipitation at that layer of the storm.
Fascinating.
Wow, that's cool.
Eva Peral, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about the RainCube.
I want one of these for Christmas.
It reminds me of a dropson, right, out of an Air Force Turkey Hunter.
Right. To get that kind of high-resolution data, hopefully one day again, Chris helping us with rain intensity forecast.